if this movie doesn't win Best Actress, I'm going to be so upset. I mean, Kristen Stewart was the highlight of this year. She gave the least wooden performance she's ever given in her entire career. In fact, I think she was better, this is a bold statement, better in this than in Twilight.
Whoa, dude, you went too far. So all joking aside, this is a very serious film starring Julianne Moore, who plays a woman suffering from early onset Alzheimer's disease.
Right.
And I mean, it's heartbreaking watching her go through that. What's also heartbreaking is some of the performances in this movie.
Yes. Julianne Moore is an amazing actress. She always has been and always will be. And in this movie, she, like you said, she's just so heartbreaking. And so it's such a sad role, you know, it's so depressing seeing this woman going from high-level academia and then struggling with early onset Alzheimer's when she's 50. I mean, you know, I can't imagine what that's like, you know, forgetting everything and just, you know, slowly degrading to where you know you're degrading, and you finally get to the point where you don't even know anymore, you know. And that's the whole emotional, you know, impact of the story. And you know, it's a very you know, smart family, very intelligent family. The husband's played by Alec Baldwin, and we have, you know, the kids, all three of the kids, and they're all very smart. You know, she's a teacher. She is a linguistics teacher at this college, and you know, they can't cope with it. They say, you know, like, she figures out she has early onset Alzheimer's. You know, when she's jogging, she forgets where she is, so she goes to the doctor, and they say, look, she said one question, and this was to me one of the best scenes in the movie. She says, one question, can I pass it on to my kids? And he says, yes. And it's a 50-50.
Painful. So the kids find out that they can get it, and they get screened, and we're not going to tell you if they have it or not, but we'll just leave it at that, and you can go watch the movie if you haven't seen it already. But let's talk about this movie. Let's really get into it, because Julianne Moore's performance, it's Oscar worthy for sure. Like, she blows it out of the water. But where was everybody else? Did they even show up? Like, is this Alec Baldwin? This is what he did on his weekends, like when he was free?
Right.
Because it's so hard to watch a movie where one actress is so high above everybody else. I think that the choice, whoever selected Alec Baldwin and Kristen Stewart for this role, their respective roles, what were you thinking? Because you had gold, like, in the hands of any other actor or actress. I'm not talking about the lead, Julianne Moore's part, I'm talking about the supporting cast. They would have just made the movie all that much better instead of bringing it down. And I mean, honestly, I'm really disappointed in that fact. I mean, I'm happy for Julianne Moore and all the Oscar buzz and the nomination and all the accolades she's going to get for this movie. But as a movie, as a whole, you can't just take Julianne Moore out of the movie. It's not that great. It's really lacking in a lot of key areas. The plot has a hard time developing, and really the camera shouldn't have strayed from Julianne Moore a single time, because I couldn't take my eyes off her, and anytime the camera had anybody else in the shot, I was instantly disinterested in what they had to say.
It was, I feel like in this movie, the biggest critique I have of this movie is it didn't show enough of her life before she got Alzheimer's. It kind of started out with her getting Alzheimer's, and that was a huge problem I had with the movie, because, you know, let me develop this attachment to her. Let me, you know, and I developed a little bit of an attachment, but let me develop this attachment to Julianne Moore's character, and, you know, just show the downgrade. Don't just have her starting out, you know, automatically forgetting. You know, you gotta show a little bit more. And honestly, this is one of the problems I had with this movie. It was very, very dry, very, you know, not a lot of plot. It's just basically, you know, Julianne Moore interacting with her kids and her family and struggling with this disease. And it's I mean, that, you know, I'm not taking anything from Julianne Moore. Like, great performance. But, you know, it was such a dry movie. And this is one of those movies where I think it's performance based, definitely, but, you know, you can only go so far with your performance to make it a good movie.
Yeah.
But then there has to be a good movie for it to be a good movie.
Within it, yeah.
Right, and I think that's what keeps it from being a good movie. I think it's an all right movie. You know, I always say, I tell everybody, I say, look, I have a couple of rating systems. I have okay, I have terrible, god awful. I have good, I have okay, I have all right, I have good, then I have great. And this to me is just, you know, it's just all right. It's not even like, it's not even good quality to me because like I said, the dilapidating disease is, you know, a huge part of the movie, and I completely understand it. I completely understand the source material and where you're coming from it. But A, if you would have shown a little more, and B, you gotta have that supporting cast. I mean, there are very few movies that are just one actor, you know, killing it the entire time and not having a good movie under them and making it a good movie. Because, like I said, it's not even just the supporting cast. I can't even blame all of them. I just like, kind of like lazy, almost a lazy plot in that sense. Very dry, very not a lot of stuff happens.
Yeah, in our other review that we just put up, the Selma review, I talked about how I loved the performances, but the movie was also good and it was solid. It was dry in a few places, but the supporting cast showed up. It was well directed, well written, great piece. Still, Alice doesn't have that mysticism about it. It doesn't have this great story. I feel like there's a story in there that if we got to it would be one of the best movies of the year, but it's layered on top of bad acting, on top of slow plot, on top of bad dialogue, on top of all these things. And I honestly wouldn't recommend watching this film just to see Julianne Moore's performance, because the rest of the movie is just so boring it's almost not worth it to sit through. Right,
well, I mean, you know, this is another movie that it's very personal. It's like we said in our wild. If it's a personal experience for you. You know, if you know someone struggling with Alzheimer's, or if you're related to someone struggling with Alzheimer's, very personal to you. I will admit, this is the one movie this year. Besides, I teared up a little bit in Wild, but this is the one movie that a single tear was shed. It was a sad movie, but again, it just didn't hit that entertainment value, didn't hit that rewatchability, didn't hit the right notes that needed to hit to make it a great movie, not even to make it a good movie. I think Julianne Moore's performance in this was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think, okay, if you love acting, like I said, if you love acting and you love cinema, I think, again, I'm just gonna go with the whole, you shouldn't feel ashamed of skipping this movie. If you never see this movie in your life, you shouldn't feel ashamed of it, because it's okay to skip. Now, like, again, should you skip it? Julianne Moore's performance is phenomenal. Like you said, Oscar.
Yeah, we can't take that away.
You can't take that away. I think she's probably gonna win Best Actress.
And I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
Right, and you can't take that away from her. She's such a good, you know, on-screen presence, such a good character. But when you boil it down to the basis of the movie, when you boil it down to how entertained were you, would you watch it again, would you recommend? I'd say no. Just skip it. If you have to see it, rent it later, and then, you know, just go on with your life. So,
well, if you enjoyed our bashing of Still Alice, go ahead and let us know in the comments below, and go ahead and subscribe for more great content.